Yeah, we're back here again. Out here fucking with nature, you feel me? Vibrating high, you feel me? Getting my shimmy on. Hair out on my Me Want Honeycomb shit. It's your boy Dame. Subscribe to me, Damian Harkless. Here to bring more light, here to receive more light, here to talk my shit. Today is a Real Talks episode 4, if I'm not mistaken. And this topic is pertaining to spirituality along with religion. We're going to be contrasting the two because despite common popular belief, spirituality to me is something separate from religion, as religion is something separate from spirituality. Yes, they have their similarities, but from my point of view, from my stance, spirituality simply means that you have a faith in a creative energy that has manifested this world around you. So your whole faith system is on the basis of an interconnectivity between all natural forms, all life forms. And by that you perceive all life forms beyond human, beyond man. So the connection with the trees, whether it be the connection with the animal, whether it be a connection with the sun, spirituality entails this natural, holistic way of life. And that means to be at peace with your inner self. Now, how does that distinguish from religion? Because religion, for one, spirituality is a field. Our ancient civilized people were spiritual before the context and the ideas of religion. This is what we have to accept as people, just common sense. We're so non-spiritual, we don't have the common sense no more. That a spiritual being created and conceptualized this Bible, this book, whatever book it is of religion in which you subscribe to. It was a being who brought that to life. So it was a spirit in itself bringing that to life. So for my religious people, this is not to say that you being religious disables you from being spiritual. This is simply to say that spirituality comes before religion. Therefore, religion is not mandated. Religion is not mandated for righteousness, for true virtue. Because when we talk about being spiritual, we're talking about a higher power, a higher consciousness creating this universe in which we can manifest naturally on, right? But you have this connection in which you feel all these natural things with your own being. That's what being spiritual is. You can feel the connectivity, the interconnectivity within all living things. So with that alone, that's what spiritual beings praised and worshiped in their journey. All natural elements. That was their belief system. It wasn't a book, a code of conduct in which we were subscribed to act to until certain men created that conduct. And I say men because in any book or religion you want to find, it's the male figure who's put in an ascending light. It's the woman figure who's objectified and undermined. And this is what we have to understand with religion. Religion can create a righteous being. A book, a piece of literature can create a thought process for someone to live in true virtue, in true righteousness, right? But along with that, that book can also entail ways of life that may not be righteous due to it being man's creation. Now, I can give an example of that. It would be how people use the literature and use the religion to create war, to create this divisiveness. We've all chosen a religion based on pretty much our proximity. That's how religion is made. Depending on where you're at, you choose the higher power. The higher power essentially always looks like the person in that region. You know what I'm saying? You're in India, you're gonna see Buddhists. They're gonna look like that. You're with the Romans, their Jesus is gonna be fair skinned. You go to ancient Egypt, they're gonna show a figure that'll be African. So man has its hand on religion. Spirituality has its hand with nature. Man can't control nature. Man has to be a part of nature. We have to use our interconnectivity to be one with natural elements. That's all it means to be spiritual, to be one with nature. That's it. You abide by nature's codes. You believe in a principle of nature. You hold it to a high regard while you're here because you are nature. Religion is created through some spiritual person. Like if you ask well, not anyone, but if you ask certain Christians, certain Muslims, certain believers in the Vedic religion, certain Buddhists, they will tell you themselves that you don't have to be my religion to be spiritual. You just have to follow the codes within your religion properly to gain that spirituality. So it's within you before any book. If I had to give any example of it, it would be the kids. The abundance we see in kids, we don't see in adults. The righteousness, the virtue we see in kids, we don't see in adults. This way of living is instilled in us through ration. Now, when I say we're rational beings, that's not a compliment. We're so much rational beings that we just assume that calling someone a rational being is automatically a positive connotation. I'm not using it as a positive connotation because we've become so rational to where we rationalize bullshit. Whereas we can usually revert to the soul and be like, hold on, this is crap. You got this way of life telling me, based on who wrote it, not to mix these certain fabrics or not to do this in a certain manner, or to tell the male that they're superior, or to say that someone shall perish if they don't believe in me. To me, that's something we've rationed because a book told us to. But spiritually, it could never sit with us spiritually when we hone in on that. So we have to understand that literature is a tool for the mind. Now, we can use literature and we can use intellect and we can acquire all that to enhance our mind, but we always have to revert back to the soul, to the spirit, to what feels right and what feels good and what doesn't infringe on nature. Spirituality is being in sync and in tune with nature. Our ancient civilized people were in tune with nature, with no book that you can pinpoint a way of living in which how they live. Now, I will say this, and people may be mad once I do say this, but I'll just say with deductive reasoning, with common logic, if spirituality came, assuming these premises, if humans were spiritual before notions of the Bible, an omnipotent human figure, because we give our God a human body, whereas to being spiritual just pertains to the natural element, the natural creation of life, and nature in itself is essentially God. That's, you know what I'm saying? We just give a face to it. We put Jesus Christ on it. We twist and turn it as humans in so many directions that I would just say, why don't you cut out the middleman? If you believe that humans were spiritual before the book, and you believe that humans can obtain spirituality without the book, why don't you cut out the middleman? Because essentially, we know religion is made by us. We know we've created it. So any one individual, any one of us can obtain spirituality. We can create a way of life, a conduct of life. If we tap into ourselves, that can help another person become righteous. And that can be their Bible. You get what I'm saying? That can essentially be their Bible as long as we instill the moral principles within it. And then we can put filler around it. We can put filler within the shit like saying slavery is a necessity. Because that's what Christianity has as far as some people's interpretations of it. That some people were meant to be masters and rulers of people, and some people were meant to be subservient. So I only say that to say is because I've seen, and we've all seen religion be divisive to us naturally. us natural beings are taking a rational claim, because it makes sense for some people to be religious. It makes sense for them to say that that's the only way you can obtain spirituality. It makes sense, but to me, common sense ain't that fucking common no more. If you know there were people on this planet that were spiritual before religion, it only makes the most sense that religion is not needed to become spiritual. It's the middleman. I say that with kids. Kids don't think to hurt animals. Kids don't think to hurt animals. When you show your newborn a footage of a murder, that motherfucking baby gonna cry. You show your newborn, you try to kill an insect or animal in front of your newborn, the first time it sees it is gonna reject that notion. I promise you. Do an experiment if you want to be a murderer. But yeah, so you have the kids and you have the animals. And that's the thing. To subscribe in a religion is to believe that the man's idea is the right way. To subscribe to nature is to be susceptible to nature. You know what I'm saying? To be spiritual is to be you all the things that you've learned, you still turn it into nature. You know what I'm saying? You hold that as the high and mighty. You don't hold this belief by King James or by whoever the fuck wrote it and said, no, I gotta do this. I could cheat while I'm boyfriend and girlfriend, but once I get married, that's against my religion. I can't do that. Nigga, you cheating either way. You feel me? Women, you cheating either way, whether you married or not. It's not more morally correct because the book said, because you married, oh, now it's a sin. You was cheating before, nigga. You didn't feel bad in spirit? Ladies, y'all didn't feel bad in spirit when you was cheating? Because that's what it means to be spiritual. You have a little bit of empathy for nature. You just got to check the book, the codes of conduct. It's a big difference between spirituality and religion. And I will always say, my religious people, this is never to say you can't be spiritual through the book. There is certainly information within all those books. I've read little anecdotes of the Quran through some of my homies. You know what I'm saying? I've taken religious classes. Of course, I grew up on Christianity. There's scriptures and there's things in there that can instill principles within you to be of virtue. This is never to not say that. But this is also to say that religion is definitely a middleman between your righteousness. You know what I'm saying? It's just, oh man, it's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain for those, because I know many will probably tell me that I'm wrong through a chapter in the book. Well, Matthew 23 states. So you're going to tell me that what some man wrote in that book, because he stated it, that this is why your religion is right, and this is why their religion is wrong. I don't believe in a lifestyle which tells me that someone is wrong, morally wrong, based on their religious beliefs. That's just a train of thought that we've developed after that. Animals, they don't have literature for that. Babies, they don't have literature. They don't know Jesus Christ once they're born, but they do know to live righteous. They do know not to kill mom. Common sense. I personally think spirituality is common sense. Personally. Now, we may think common sense is something like 20 nickels making $1 or 10 dimes making $1. We might think that's common sense, but shit, common sense is something to me that's innate. I knew this before I learned about $1, to know what the fuck $1 is. I knew that the tree was helpful to me before I knew that it was called a tree. Spirituality to me is just simple common sense. And we don't have spiritual people anymore. We're in the country of religion. Most people will subscribe to a religion, but they're not, to me, morally precise, not morally correct. We're all advocates of war. We're advocates of terror. We justify injustice. It just is what it is. So we can keep saying that religion may be the way, everybody needs to be religious. But for me, I think everybody needs to be spiritual. It's never spirituality. in which these wars thrust. It's always a battle of religion, not a battle of spiritual righteous beliefs, because the spiritual don't believe in hurting and harming. Simple as that. The spiritual do not believe in hurting and harming any natural thing. So yeah, man, that's pretty much the gist of this. You got religion, you got spirituality. I believe they're totally different, but I believe that you can become spiritual with religion, and I believe you can be a religious motherfucker and not be spiritual at all. You know what I'm saying? That's just my personal anecdotes. That's my take on it. I want to know what y'all think on it. Subscribe to your boy, Damian Harkless. Find ways to be spiritual, man. Meditate. Find nature. Drink some water. Connect. Read a book. Shit, maybe the book worked for you too. Find a way. Dang.